Hi guys, welcome to the second video in this video series where we will be talking about what the correct collar is to use for training. Um, Personally, I use a prong collar or otherwise known as a pinch collar. Um, in my opinion, the prong collar is probably one of the most useful and effective training tools in a trainer's toolbox. It does look like a torture device though, and this is why you don't see it used very often. Um, and it is true that in the wrong hands, the prong collar can cause damage. I have seen cases where the prongs have dug into the skin of the dog, but I've also seen cases where normal flat collars, slip leads, choke chains, and even harnesses have dug into the skin of the dog. So the danger of any training tool is with the person using it and not with the tool itself. And the reality is, when used properly, the prong collar is not only effective, but in my opinion, probably one of the safest collars to use. There has been several studies done and even books written on the subject. I don't want to get into too much medical detail here, but in a nutshell, when your dog lunges or pulls on a flat collar or a rope collar or a choke chain, the impact causes internal nerve damage and damage to the cervical vertebra of the dog. So the damage is not visible, but it is there. The prongs on the prong collar prevents the dog from jumping or pulling or lunging, and so it never gets to the point where this internal damage can occur. Um, if you want more information on the medical reasons behind why you should consider prong collar, you can read an article on it. I will post the link in the description of this video, and you can just go to the website and read about how to take better care of your dog's neck and spine and how the prong collar can help you do that. But besides the fact that it is better for your dog's neck and spine, the training benefits of a prong collar is tremendous. Um, the prong collar correction is a very natural and instinctive to the dog because the prongs cause a sensation similar to that of the mother dog's teeth when she is correcting the puppies for being out of line. Um, it's a type of correction and a sensation that they naturally and instinctively understand and respect. And in addition, the dog is more sensitive to the collar, so anything that you are trying to communicate to your dog through the leash will be that much clearer to your dog. And it will make it easier for them to understand what you want. And there is a lot of communication happening through the leash, especially in the beginning, when you're trying to guide the dog and show him what you want him to do. So the prong collars really are like power steering on your dog, and almost everyone I've introduced these collars to were opposed to them at first, and then after using it just once, they're sold on it. So it just makes your job as a handler and a trainer 100 times easier. I would highly recommend any dog owner to invest in a prong collar. However, you don't need it for dog training. So if you prefer, you can carry on with a flat collar or whatever collar you prefer, but just be aware that just know that it will take a lot more effort and time to achieve the same results. Okay, so in the videos, I am using a prong collar, and as mentioned, I use it with all my dogs, and I don't even attempt to train a dog with a normal collar anymore, simply because I don't see why I should have to struggle achieving anything if I can do it fast and effectively and quickly with a prong collar. So there are many articles on the internet, saying that these collars are cruel or whatever, but just don't pay attention to those articles. It's clearly written by people that know very little about dog training and dog psychology. So if used correctly, it is an extremely powerful tool and a very effective tool, and it can be used to drastically improve the bond with your dog through proper training and clear communication. Um, I do apologize for the dogs barking in the background. Unfortunately, if I have to stop and start over every time they start barking, I'll never get any of these up. Anyway, let's continue. There are a few things that you need to take into account when using a prong collar. So first of all, you need to take responsibility as a handler and a trainer. As mentioned, the prong collar is like power steering, and the dog is much more sensitive to it compared with flat collars or choke chains. So don't be jerking your dog around on it. Okay, it's not necessary. The prong collar only requires mild corrections, and the dog will get the message loud and clear. Be gentle, and especially in the beginning when you're both still getting used to the new piece of equipment. Number two, do not buy cheap knockoffs. All right. There's only one brand that you can trust, and it is Springer. And again, I will leave the link to their website in the description. Um, but don't buy the cheaper Chinese models. They are not strong enough, and they will bend. And in addition, the Springer brand has rounded tips on the prongs, so it won't damage your dog's skin, whereas the cheaper models are not rounded, and it will break your dog's skin probably if you give a fairly hard correction. Okay, on number three, you need to fit the prong collar the right way. The prong collar needs to have a snug fit around the dog's neck and not hanging loose. The positioning should be right up on the dog's neck, behind the ears, and under the chin. And the reason for this is that all of the dog's strength is at the bottom of his neck. So if the collar is at the top, you will have much more control, meaning less resistance against the collar, and in turn meaning less damage to your dog's neck, if any. And the collar, if the collar is too low on the dog's neck, it won't be as effective. Okay, so the chain bit should be on the inside of the dog's neck, running from the right ear down to the bottom of the chin, and the leash should be hooked up to the outer ring. Make sure your chains don't cross. Okay, this will interfere with the corrections and it won't be as effective. Okay, number four, do not leave the collar on for extended periods of time. Okay, the prong collar is intended and designed for walking and training only. So it's not the type of collar you leave on the dog all day and night. Put it on when you're about to go for a walk or a training session, and take it off when you are done. Okay, so watch this video several times to make sure you understand how to fit the collar properly. I will put it on repeat, but watch it as many times as you need to. Make sure you understand how to fit the collar the right way, and where to attach the leash. And then allow your dog to run around and play a bit while wearing the collar so he can get used to the new sensation before you start training. All right, so that is it for the prong collar. And now that you have all the tools necessary, we can start formal training. Yeah, and until the next session.